Today on the Audio Hotline, I will be doing a review of the 512 Audio Skylight. In this review, I'll take you through the usual stuff. We'll go through the accessories, the specs, we'll test it out, and I will also be including a comparison. I'll put the microphones up on the screen that are going to be in that comparison. Just to get all the little disclaimers and information out of the way first, then we'll get to the fun stuff. Couple quick things. 512 Audio did in fact send this microphone to me, as well as the Limelight, which I just reviewed. They didn't tell me to give the Skylight or the Limelight a good review or anything like that. They aren't paying me money. They just sent it to me and told me to give my honest thoughts. And since my Limelight review wasn't the most favorable review, you know that they aren't paying me for good words. One other quick thing, there are timestamps down below if you want to navigate through this video. And of course, one of the most important things, the price of this microphone goes for $200. We're going to start talking about the 512 Audio Skylight here in a second, but first, let's get mic'd. Welcome all audio nerds to the Audio Hotline, and as I said before, we have the 512 Audio Skylight in the studio today. So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of the 512 Audio Limelight. I don't necessarily want to spoil that review or anything, but if you do want to go check that out, I'll put the link down below or up on the screen. But I just didn't feel like the build quality was really on par. I wasn't crazy about the sound. The accessories were kind of whatever. With all that being said though, I will say that the accessories and the build quality of the Skylight couldn't be further from the Limelight. This is like a heavy setup, and it's built very well. These seem so vastly different when it comes to accessories and build that it's like crazy. And the only reason I really bring this up is that I know that I didn't give the Limelight a super favorable review, but I really do think there is a lot of hope here with the Skylight. So if you were discouraged about 512 Audio because of the Limelight, maybe this will change your mind. But let's go ahead and talk about the Skylight more specifically. One of the things that I did want to go over real quick is what 512 Audio meant for the Skylight to be. Welcome to Skylight, a studio quality condenser microphone from 512 Audio. Whether you podcast, broadcast, stream, play, or produce, 512 Audio's new Skylight condenser microphone delivers the studio quality sound you and your listeners demand. So with that little description being said, it's supposed to be a relatively versatile microphone. But one thing with condenser microphones like this is they do tend to be a little bit more musician oriented. But this one in particular, they are marketing toward podcast broadcasters, streamers, as well as musicians also. We'll be doing tests that kind of cover the whole range of that today anyway, so we'll see kind of where it fits in. Now let's go ahead and go over the accessories and the build quality of this $200 condenser microphone. When you purchase the 512 Audio Skylight, it will come with a shock mount. This shock mount is mostly made of metal. The Skylight does also come with a storage and carrying pouch. This does also come with a pop filter that wraps directly around the grill of the microphone. This does also come with a 3/8 to 5/8 inch microphone stand adapter. And of course it'll come with the microphone itself, the 512 Audio Skylight. Now, as I was kind of talking about earlier, I think that the accessories that come with this are absolutely amazing. This shock mount might be one of the most sturdy feeling shock mounts I've ever felt. I mean, this thing could hurt someone. It could be used as a weapon for sure. But seriously, I'm blown away by the shock mount. It's great. The pop filter is kind of just like your standard build when it comes to pop filters like this, but that's not a bad thing. I think it's solid. And the storage and carrying pouch is so much nicer than the one that comes with the Limelight. This is on par with what you'd get from Rode and like Shure. Actually, maybe a little bit nicer than Shure. But it's great. It has a little bit of padding. The branding looks nice on it. It's awesome. And when I look at this compared to the oddly shaped one of the Limelight with no padding, that's not nearly as nice, I'm just still so confused as to what the hell is happening. Did two different teams work on it? The Limelight team and the Skylight team, and the Skylight team was just so much better. I don't know. And when it comes to the build quality of the microphone itself, I think it's great. It feels so sturdy. It's fantastic. And when it comes to build quality, one of the things that's always mentioned next to it is the look of the microphone. Does it remind me of an air filter? A little bit. I'm sure that some people will hate the look of it. I don't hate it. I think it's kind of cool that it's unique and looks a little different. Well, now that we've talked about the accessories and the build quality, usually I would cover features now, but this doesn't have any switches on it or anything like that. No pad or high pass filter or low cut, whatever you want to call it. Nothing like that, so we'll just go ahead and move on and nerd out and talk about some specs. The 512 Audio Skylight is an XLR condenser microphone with a cardioid polar pattern. This features a gold-plated large diaphragm capsule that measures in at 34 millimeters. This has a frequency range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz. This has a sensitivity of -42 decibels, an impedance of 200 ohms, a max SPL of 144 decibels, and a weight of 1 kilogram. And this microphone does in fact require 48 volts of phantom power. Well, now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, now let's go ahead and start testing this microphone out. Now, when I've been doing this first part and doing the test, just so you know, I am using the Mo2 M2 going into my MacBook Pro, recording in Logic Pro X, 24-bit at 48 kilohertz. And while I'm recording this, I am having my peaks hit -12 decibels. And during this, I will do tests with and without the pop filter. If you're confused of what the hell I'm doing and what test I'm doing, I will label it down in the lower third. Let's go ahead and kick it off with a proximity effect test. If you get right up on this microphone with no pop filter in place and you give this a little sniff, it smells a lot like flour. Flour with a U and me. No, but flour with a U, for real. And if you get really close to this microphone with a provided pop filter on and give it a little sniff, it doesn't smell like anything. No. Now, just a real quick warning. I'm going to do some plosives, and it's going to be loud. Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peanutses. 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 Now, if you're going to type on a keyboard directly behind this microphone, here is how it's going to sound. Now, to test the polar pattern even further, let's go ahead and do a white noise test. You stole my spot. The kitty purr test isn't supposed to happen for a few more minutes, okay? Blue is a little bit early on the kitty purr test, so we'll just go ahead and do it. If you're planning on using this microphone for podcasting or voiceover, here's how it would sound with some post-processing on it. I'll label whatever I use down in the lower third. I will not be using any EQ, just so you can hear the characteristic of the microphone, but this is how it would sound with some compression and potentially some limiting. And here's the sound of that same compression and everything, no EQ, but with the pop filter off. Now let's go ahead and see how the Skylight handles different distances. This is me about 5 to 6 inches away from the microphone, and now I'm about a foot away from the Skylight. And now the Skylight is off camera. I'd say I'm about 2.5 to 3 feet away from it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple guitar tests. Right now I'm in an untreated room just testing out the audio, which I mean is a test on its own, but it's not the test that I want to do here. The biggest question that I get with large diaphragm condenser microphones like this is, can you vlog with it? I mean, only if you want to absolutely destroy your back and hate your life. This is great to vlog with. I mean, the next big fad is for everyone to be vlogging with a large diaphragm condenser microphone, so we gotta test these things out, guys. But if I did have to grade this on vlogability, it'd be an F for sure. Sorry 512 Audio, but I hope you get this stuff worked out and make your large diaphragm condenser microphones more vlog friendly. I assume you guys all wanted to know my super sick vlogging setup with this microphone, and this is what it looked like. We got the camera set up with the Zoom H5 on top with an XLR cable running to the 512 Skylight. This is actually a desk stand. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. Now that we've gone through the usual tests, now let's go ahead and do the comparison with the Skylight and some other condenser microphones. This will in fact be a blind comparison, so I will be labeling the microphones A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. One other quick thing, I did do a review of the Lauten LA220 recently, and in the comparison in that video, the Skylight was actually in it. So if you do want to go check that out, feel free. I'm not going to stop you. Except for right now, I am going to stop you. Don't leave the video right now. Just later, later. But let's go ahead and jump into this blind comparison. Here's just a real quick palate cleanser microphone. This microphone is not considered a part of the comparison. If you do like the sound of it though, this is actually a dynamic microphone. This is the SE-V7. But while we're doing a quick cleanse of the palate, let me just mention a couple quick things. Not all of these microphones are the same. They're not all large diaphragm condenser microphones. However, all of them are in fact condenser microphones. A lot of them are around a similar price, but some jump up in price a little bit. It's just to give you an example of some different options. But now that my palate feels hella cleansed, let's go ahead and start this comparison. Here is the sound of the first microphone in this comparison. We'll call it microphone A. Here is the sound of the second microphone in this comparison. We'll call it microphone B. Here is the sound of the third microphone in this comparison. We'll call it microphone C. Here is the sound of the fourth microphone in this comparison. We'll call it microphone D. Here is the sound of the fifth microphone in this comparison, microphone E. Here is the sound of the sixth microphone in this comparison. We'll call it microphone F. We have microphone C here, C as in cuddle cute cats. We have microphone A here, A as in anus acupuncture. We have microphone E here, E as in eggplant espresso. We have microphone B here, B as in belly button bonanza. We have microphone D here, D as in dookie doodle. We have microphone F here, F as in foamy flatulence. One last time, here is the sound of the anus acupuncture microphone, microphone A. One last time, here is the dookie doodle microphone, microphone D. One last time, here is the Cuddle Cute Cats microphone, microphone C. One last time, here is the sound of the Eggplant Espresso microphone, microphone E. One last time, here is the Foamy Flatulence microphone, microphone F. One last time, here is the Belly Button Bonanza microphone, microphone B. Alright, blind comparison is done. Who's ready for the big reveal, huh? Yeah? Alright, spoiler alert. Here it is. Microphone A was the CAD E100S. Microphone B was the Rode NT1A. Microphone C was the Lewitt LCT 240 Pro. Microphone D was the MXL V67 G Heritage Edition. Microphone E was the Audio-Technica AT2035. Microphone F was the 512 Audio Skylight. Well, now that we went through the basics, we went through the accessories and the build quality, we went through the specs, we tested this microphone out, we did a comparison. Now I'm going to take a break. I'm going to edit this first section of the video so I can listen to this microphone even more, and then I can check out the comparison even more. Then I'll come back here in a few seconds for you, not for me, it'll be a long time, and give you my opinion of the 512 Audio Skylight. Now that I've gone back and edited that first part of this video, listened to the comparison a lot. During that, I got an ear infection, took some antibiotics, got over said ear infection. Now I'm finally ready to give you my review, my opinion of the 512 Audio Skylight. Now, when it comes to the comparison, I'm not really going to talk too much about what microphone I liked the most or anything like that. The comparison is just so you can hear the different microphones. But the one thing that I really took away from that comparison that I'm sure everyone else did, it was relatively obvious, is the fact that the 512 Skylight just doesn't have nearly as much high end. as most microphones like it. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of the microphones in the comparison had kind of a hyped high end, but the Skylight definitely was the most mid-heavy microphone. Now, I completely understand why people like a microphone with a hyped high end. Hearing all of the clarity and detail and everything, it just sounds nice. But if you're listening to those microphones for a really long time, it can actually become quite fatiguing. And I feel like the Skylight is just pretty easy to listen to. It's not really harsh in any ways. I mean, it's not like a perfectly smooth jazz sound, but it is nice to listen to. But when it comes to that high end not being as present, I don't think it's a bad thing. It just kind of means that this is going to be for certain people and not for others. And honestly, I'm kind of happy that the Skylight brings a little bit of a different sound compared to those other condenser microphones. Now let's just talk for a second about whether or not 512 Audio kind of hit the mark on kind of their mission statement for this microphone. So to summarize, what they said was, whether you podcast, broadcast, stream, play, or produce, this is going to deliver. Now I would say in an environment that's relatively controlled, this microphone would do really well. I don't think it rejects sound nearly as good as a majority of dynamic microphones. So if you are going to be typing on your keyboard or just have excess noise in the room, or there's a second person in the room, I don't think this is a great option for that. But in a controlled room with minimal noise, I think that this is a good option. Now to hit on that second part of the 512 Audio statement, whether you play or produce, I do think that this sounded pretty good on the guitars. Maybe pretty good's a little too far. I think it was acceptable. It came across harsh at times, but I will say if I would have dove in and EQ'd it and everything, I feel like I could have got something pretty good out of this microphone. So overall, I don't think that 512 Audio missed the mark on their mission statement. I don't think this microphone is for everyone, but I don't think any microphone is for everyone. But to kind of move away from the sound of it, I'm absolutely blown away by the build quality of this microphone, the accessories that come with it, and the build of those accessories. The quality overall that you're getting for $200, I think is incredible. But to summarize, I do think the sound is good. Like a lot of other microphones, I don't think it's for everyone. If you like more mids and not a super detailed, overly clear high end, this microphone's good for you. But if you are one of those people that likes a Rode NT1A with just a crystal clear top end, very detailed, this mic isn't for you. Me personally, I like it. I like the fact that it brought a different sound, different characteristic to the $200 price tag. And I'll just blatantly say that this is the much stronger offering from 512 Audio compared to the Limelight. Now, the grade that I give the 512 Audio Skylight is a B. And when I give it that grade, I'm basically just saying that you're getting more for your money. This is above average for the price that you're paying. Now, thank you all for watching this review of the 512 Audio Skylight. I hope it helped you out, helped you decide whether you want to get one of these or not, but most of all, I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for a lot more reviews and comparisons, a lot of other audio-related videos and content creator videos in general. I want to give a big thank you to 512 Audio for sending me the Skylight and the Limelight. I want to give an even bigger thank you to everyone that watches and subscribes to the Audio Hotline. You are great. And an even bigger thank you to everyone that's a member of the Audio Hotline. It truly helps this channel grow and get more gear into the studio. But thanks for watching the Audio Hotline. I'll see you audio nerds next time.